Hello, everybody. Welcome. So, checking if everybody has joined yet. Oh, we have quite a few participants today. So welcome to these new office hour sessions. As always, feel free to present yourself in the chat, like how long you've been using WeWeb, what's your project. But for the technical questions, please ask them in the question and answer panel, so that I can get them in order and prioritize them. And today I will be alone, sadly, because Florian is on holidays, so CPO, because he's just moved out to a new flat in Paris. So he's quite busy unpacking stuff. So hopefully I will be able to answer most of your questions. I'm sorry in advance if I can't answer all of them, because yeah, I'm only a marketer. I mean, I play with WeWeb all the time, but I'm sure not all chief product officer. So yeah, don't laugh at me, please. No, I'll try to do my best, but the thing is, yeah, obviously I don't know WeWeb as much as Flo because he's building the product, but hopefully I'll be able to help. And if some questions I'm not able to answer right now, I will definitely take them all into account for later, and we'll try to answer them on the community. First question from Theo. Hey, Theo. Hey, Q, general question this time. What do you find is the best way to handle error logging in WeWeb? I did set up a global workflow that I execute for each workflow on error. The workflow sends me a Slack notification with the error code, but there must be a better way to log error objects with all details. There are several ways to do this, so let me think about it. Sending them to Slack, I mean, is a good proof of concept. It's definitely a good idea, and using a general workflow for this is really good. What you could do, though, is use tools like maybe Datadog or Sentry, because at the end of the day, WeWeb app is still a Vue.js app, so you can use any error login system that developers are using in classic coded applications. Otherwise, you could also, I know that some people are sending errors to their backend, like Xano or Supabase. They have a table and they kind of use it as logs. So every time they have an error, they log it to this table, and they try to get the error, like the error stack as you're doing, but also sometimes the user who triggered the error, for example. So yeah, you could definitely do it yourself or use tools like the developer use. So, but there's no best practices right now. It's still something that's being like developed in no-code tools as we speak. It's a huge subject for us because we know that we're lacking versus develop apps for two things, like error logging and just logging stuff, and also like the merging stuff together, like having kind of a Git workflow when you collaborate on an app. And it's definitely something that no-code tools will work on. I say no-code tools because I know that, for example, Xano and Supabase are working on this too. And maybe I think in the end we'll integrate deeply with plugins with tools like Datadog and Sentry. Yeah. So hopefully that answers the question. Sorry, it's not like a full answer, but hopefully you get the idea. And Adam is asking something. So yeah, sorry, Adam, make sure to use the question and answer panel. I will answer this one from the chat, but next time use the question and answer. Is there a way to schedule a one-on-one security audit with someone on the WeWeb team? WebWeb. I know that many people are calling us WebWeb, and it's like making our CEO so angry. But I find it funny. But yeah, it's WeWeb, but no worries. the WeWeb team to make sure my product is employing best practices before release. It was autocorrect. No worries. It's just really funny when I see this, but Raphael is really triggered by this. So to make sure my product is employing best practicing before release. With us, I think it would be possible if you have an enterprise account or like that would be something that you would have to pay and that we used to do before. Now, what we do is that most of the time we recommend you to partner agencies that are also really good at using WeWeb and that can do this audit for you. So agencies like, Gaspacho, No Code Factory, Theodo, so like big agencies. And Theodo, it's really interesting because they are working with us for PwC, which is like it's a really big corporate in the world. I think it's part of the big four of like auditing, consulting services. So they have like really big audits. And they audited WeWeb for security. And we passed the test. So I think this agency could really do this for you. Otherwise, I would try to get a sales call maybe with Slavo. Let me send you the link to his Calendly. And that's something we can discuss about. That would be paid for sure. So let me find this link, this one. Yeah. Okay, I'll send it to you in the chat. And a new question from Paz. Hello, Sofiane. Product feature question, calendar events. I would like to display an event over multi-days, and currently when I set a start and end date which spans multiple days, the event shows up as individual dots on the monthly calendar versus one long event over the multiple days. Suggestion or roadmap? I thought this was possible in WeWeb. I will invite you on stage just to be, I think I get it, but just to be sure to check how you're doing it, if that's okay with you, Paz. But I think it should be doable. Otherwise, I will double check with the team. Hey. Oh, small OBS issues. You don't have your mic? Oh, okay. Because I can't hear you. Yeah, I get it, but I can't hear you. And the thing is, I would like to know how you added the events to your calendar. Maybe if you're in the WeWeb editor. And also it's really small because I think you're using your OBS settings and not sharing using Zoom. So it's really hard to see actually. But normally that should be doable. Cool, thanks. I mean, I still, yeah, okay. Now I see your screen. Nice, cool. So if you could show us how you bound the events to the calendar, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm sorry, screen sharing just dropped. No worries. I mean, okay, no, it's okay. So do you have the bindings somewhere? If you go to edit mode and show me the events bindings. Yeah, I think your screen sharing is blocked again. What I would recommend, Paz, is maybe doing a Loom video and posting on the community. We'll definitely get to this. But I think that should be doable. If your event spans multiple days, it should be a normal one. Otherwise, we'll improve the calendar. The thing is, we won't improve the calendar element before the end of the year because we'll work on the marketplace and then we'll improve elements. But what we could do is maybe indicate to you how to tweak it. And normally that should be, but that should be by default. So yeah, please do a post on the community with a Loom video on showing how you bound the calendar, and I will check it. Luca, how advanced web SEO improvement progressing, especially core web vitals, server-side rendering cache, meta tags, open graph, and also SEO schema early 2024 available. So dynamic meta tags are already available as a beta feature. So you need to ask us and we'll give you the access. The thing is you have to set them using an API and we'll give you the documentation. And the idea is that you can set meta tags even for pages that are using variables in URLs. So what we do is that we set the meta tags before even the page is rendered. For the core web vitals, I don't remember what this is exactly. But for server-side rendering and cache, so your WeWeb app is already cached because it's using Amazon Web Services S3 and CloudFront. So it's using Amazon cache. For server-side rendering, it's something we'll investigate in 2024. I don't think early 2024, but definitely mid-2024 or later. But that's definitely something we'll check. Open Graph, you can already use Open Graph in your meta, like in your meta tags in the pages, you already have the Open Graph. And SEO schema, I don't know what this is, so maybe you can show me. I will invite you, Luca. Because for Core Web Vitals and SEO schema, I don't know what this is. Because last time I worked in the SEO space was years ago. So we invite you. If that's okay for you. So normally I invited you to be a panelist. Ah, okay, you can't. Okay, my bad. Core Web Vitals. Let me check what this is. Ah, the largest contentful paint, these kind of things. Yeah, okay, I know what this is. So, I mean, that's really technical. So that should be your job to optimize the WeWeb apps for this because WeWeb is not bad or good at this. It's just that most of these metrics, it depends on how much data you're loading above the fold, for example, like the size of your images, these kind of things. So you should optimize. Every time you're publishing the app, you should do a check, for example, using Google PageSpeed, for example, and check your release. But for all the other stuff, I mean, meta tags, yeah, you can ping us. We'll get you the beta access. Open Graph, it's already available. Caching, it's already there. And server-side rendering, yeah, 2024. But to be honest, we checked most of our users' SEO performances and they were okay, even great. I was even surprised. And our thinking is that Google is now better and better as crawling SPAs, so single page apps, because we see many users that are ranking really well. And it's interesting because we even had a talk about SEO with the Airbnb team when we were doing Y Combinator, and they told us that the main thing was meta tags in the end and some quality backlinks, and the other is like nice to have, but it's not that big. Like, yeah, loading time are obviously really important, but the rest is, I mean, okay-ish. But yeah, definitely it's coming. Adam is asking, I notice a big price jump between starter and scale plans. Is there any talk of adding a staging environment to the starter plan? If not, is there a way of paying per individual features and adding to an existing plan like Xano does? So there is a price increase because that's definitely features that we thought were needed for important projects. And when you pay for a scale plan, it's already way, way, way cheaper than just hiring a developer. So we thought, and at the end of the day, we need to make some money because we are spending a lot on servers, for example, or on infrastructure. So we thought that our price were not perfect, but good for most of our users. And for the features, we try to do pricing per feature, but it's really hard to implement technically. So it's not something we'll do right away, maybe in the future. But in the meantime, I'm not the best one to talk about pricing, to be honest. But when I asked our CEO, Rafael, he told me that we don't plan on changing the pricing right now because we, like back in the days, it was more expensive and we gave many more features for lesser price. So, and we need to still be viable as a company. So, because we have money, but yeah, I mean, no code tools, we spend a lot on infrastructure, let's be honest. So, and when you compare to traditional development cost, it's still nothing. So we think we're kind of getting there pricing wise, but I get your feedback and I will give it back to Rafael. Done. I have read that WeWeb produces a single page app. Coming from Bubble, I am still a bit confused about this. In Bubble, you would hide and show different sections on the page to achieve this. What happens in WeWeb when you create a new page? How is this handled? That's an interesting question. So a single page app means that when you load the app for the first time, everything is loaded inside your browser. So like a big chunk of JavaScript. And what this does is that the page is being generated in your browser by the browser interpreting the JavaScript, and the JavaScript tell the browser, like, I want this div there, I want this CSS rule here, and then. And when you do a page change, actually, the page, like the JavaScript will change the URL, but the page is not requested from a server like on Bubble, or like when you use old frameworks when you were developing back in the days. What this does is that actually the JavaScript will know that it's a different page, so it will change all the divs and the CSS according to the new page. Except if you have components that are still the same between pages and you use linked components in WeWeb, they will stay the same. So it's actually faster than in traditional app, because these components will persist between pages and only the new elements will be rendered, making for like ultra fast user experience. The only thing is that during the first time the app is loaded by a user, the whole app is being loaded. So it can be a bit longer, but then every time the user comes back, even a few days after, the app will be cached inside his browser. So inside Chrome, for example, so it will be really fast. Got it, thank you. Nice, cool. Eric, hi Q. Hey Eric. I got a question about tabs in WeWeb. Let's do a practical example. I have two tabs, one with a data grid with active users and one with inactive. When I'm selecting one of the tabs, I would like to have a query in the URL like selected tab equals active. This should then also filter the collection in the paginated Xano for only active user. How would I implement this correctly? So do you mean tab the element or type the like a different page? Do you have an example already? Like if I can invite you on scene? Yeah, okay. Let me invite you. Hey.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yeah, sorry, like my sound was a bit low, but no, it's okay.
No worries. Yeah, so let me share my screen here.
Sure.
Let's see.
So in the meantime, I just sent the link back, Adam, for Slavo. I think I shared it to only panelists. No, I shared it to everybody. So it's a Calendly link. Yeah, sorry,
Do you,
go ahead, Eric.
do you see my
Yeah,
WeWeb?
yeah.
Great. So let me just I'm just logging there first. Cool. So if I go to let's say team. So what I'm basically looking for,
Hmm?
so I have these two tabs, for example, so active and inactive users.
Yeah,
And if I click on inactive, what I basically want to do is have like this parameter.
yeah.
But then I want to use this to filter my
Xano collection. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So did you create a query variable before, or because
Let's
in
see.
variables you've got the type query, which is inactive? Yeah, okay, because it gets the value, like the name of the variable will map to the actual variable inside the URL, and it will get the value inside the query string. So what you could do is when the user do click on the tab, set the value for this variable and use the value of this variable inside the Xano uh,
So it would be something
collection.
like this, like
Change
change
query variable. Yeah,
variable,
exactly.
and then change it to, for example, inactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you could do a fetch collection, but inside your collection. So yeah, that's right. Inside your all users collection, then use this variable inside the filter.
Cool.
So
So would
what you've done basically, that should work normally.
okay, yeah, but then no, that's great. I was just not sure if I had done it correctly.
No, no worries. Yeah, you
Amazing.
see, it's changing the URL. And as long as you do a fetch collection, it will fetch the collection with the current parameters you're giving it to it. So because the variable is reactive, it will be changed on the fly.
Okay. No, but great. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Okay.
Thanks. You too. Hey, Sofiane. I think we're missing your question in the panel because I just have hello WeWeb. Feel free to write it back. Oh, nice question from Adam. Is there a way to include an image upload element in the dynamic list? I tried implementing this a week ago, but it did not allow uploading for each item in the list. Yeah, so this is a classic thing when you repeat inputs from a form, is that you don't have access to the inputs variable anymore because you're in a collection list, and basically WeWeb does not know beforehand how many inputs you will have in your collection list. So what you should do is use an array variable, and then when there is an unchange on any of the inputs in the collection, you should change the value of the element in the collection, and you would know which input it was because you can use the index of the element. So let's say, for example, I have 3 inputs in my collection list. You would say, I want each input to change the value inside my variable at the index of the input. So for example, if it's the 0 input, because you know that in computing, we begin at 0, you will change the index 0 in your array. If it's the second input, it will be index 1, etc. So I don't know if that makes sense. Otherwise, I think we have a tutorial on this. I think I've done this a long time ago. So let me check this really quickly. Maybe on YouTube. We're releasing so many videos with Joyce right now that I don't remember, sorry, which ones we've made. It's getting crazy. Okay. Bob. I think I will find it back. Input. I'm pretty sure we have the answer also on the community. I will do the tutorial and send it to you on the community. No worries. Okay. What are you describing is how it currently works for me. It works for every element, but not image upload. Because maybe the image upload element is more complex because it can handle like your whole object with an image. You know what? Let's see what you have and try to get it to work. Because most inputs, they have only a single value. I think image, it's an object. Hey.
Hello. Hi. Because it wasn't working before, I had taken it down. So it would probably take me time to re-upload it.
Okay.
I don't want to waste your time. So maybe I'll join for next week and then ask this question again.
Yeah, I will just take a screenshot of this question and try to do you know what? I will try to do the tutorial tomorrow and send it on the community. But I'm not sure it will work though. So if it doesn't work, I will ask our developers how to do this, because I think the image upload indeed is a bit more complex because it has an internal, you know, way of handling stuff. And the image is not really a string like a normal input. It's an object with all the values. So I will need to check, but pretty sure it's doable.
Forgot exactly what the issue was, but I believe it was like part of the upload process required you to have like specifically named and pre-created file that was not dynamically duplicated for every time it's created in the list. Like there's just one. And so when you try to upload it to each individual image upload element in the list, say 1, 2, 3, 4, it only like allows you to use that one resource. It doesn't duplicate the resources. Something to do with that.
Okay, I need to check because I think also it's different now because we have like since I think 1 or 2 weeks we have the native upload actions, so you're not obliged to go through our CDN. You can handle base 64 images yourself. So pretty sure that would be doable with the base 64, because if you encode the image, then it becomes a string, and then you can have like multiple string in an array, for example. So yeah.
That was also before. Now I'm currently uploading to Xano. Before I was uploading to whatever, like the previous system that WeWeb was doing before encoding.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll work now. Maybe I'll try it again, and if not, I'll post it to the community.
Yeah, no, but anyway, I will try tomorrow because that would be a super tutorial even for other users. So yeah, pretty sure it's doable. But I will need to deep dive in this, yeah, indeed, especially with the new features. I don't want to say something crazy to you right now, so I will need to check.
Okay. Thanks for all your help.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.
One more question from Eric. Thanks a lot for this session. Super helpful. Nice. Thank you. Hopefully I'm doing, because I'm really afraid not answering everything because Flo is not here. So in some pages, I noticed that it's 0.5 or 2 seconds delay before data is loaded. I really like to tell the user through UI UX that it's loading. So for example, if a user clicks on a tab with a table of active users and it takes a second to load, what would you implement to show to your user that data is loading? All IDs are welcome. So now you have, like, when you do a change page, it's not technically a change page, what you're doing with tabs, because now for change pages, you have like the page loader that we've done like YouTube inside the change page actions. So while the page is being loaded, it will show a small loader on top of the page. But what I would do is that I would display SVG while my data is being loaded. So I've done a tutorial, but I think I still have the example, so I will share my screen. Okay, so it's YouTube, it's not what we want. So hopefully you should see my screen. And if I go there, let me move my head elsewhere. So I think I've done this. Okay, let me check. Load. Is logging. Yeah, sorry, because I have so many examples in this project. But you know what? Let's do a really simple one. So I will create a small page. So loader. Okay. So let's just display something really basic. So like text and a collection. So I think I have a Xano collection that I've done for, I prepared for this, which is faking that it takes a long time to load, like 2 or 3 seconds. So let me show you this. And then we can use WeWeb variables to know if the data is loading. I want to show a loader, for example. Otherwise, I want to show the actual data. So let me go back to my instance. Office hours, API. I think it's in my tickets. Yeah, you see here, I have a collection that will sleep for 3 seconds before returning me my tickets. And I've done this just to fake that the data is taking a long time to load. So I will copy the endpoint URL. Hopefully it's not, yeah, I don't have any authentication. So I will use the REST API plugin because it will be faster just for the sake of this tutorial. REST API. Oh, but it's here. Yeah, I already have the collection. So you see it's taking 3 seconds. And maybe I want to display, so let me use a div, these tickets. So I have my main div, and inside this, I want to display some text. I will bind this div to items in my collection. So tickets.data. And then I will bind this to the ticket's name. And the thing is, if I'm loading my data, it's empty. And then after 3 seconds, it's here. So what I can do is that I can actually have loader elements. Yeah, we have a loader. So it's just a SVG, an animated SVG. You see that you can customize. And what, I will get my section to be bigger so that you see better. In 100 VH, please. Yeah. Okay. So my loader is here. You can change the colors, for example. So I will set it to blue. I know it's ugly, but we see it. And the thing is, I can have my loader to be bound, for example, if I bind to the conditional rendering to the fact that my collection is fetching. So is fetching is false now because my data is fetched, but when the data is being fetched, it's true. So it will show. And for the actual data of my collection, I will do the opposite. So I will bind it to is fetched. And you see if I'm loading, so the loader is being loaded, and then I've got the data. And if you don't have any collection, because those are computed data that we do for you on the collection at the collection level, but you can still do this in a workflow. So for example, if you were to do an API call and you store it in a variable, in the workflow, first thing you do is that you set a variable, for example, is loading to true. You bind the loader to this variable, and when the REST API fetch is done, you set this variable back to false. And basically, that's how you handle conditional rendering. And that's how most web apps are doing, by the way. It's just that when data is loading, they're just displaying a fake SVG. So it's not really bound to the data. It's just like while it's waiting for. So hopefully that makes sense. Up. Cool. Nice. I've not used this before, exactly what I was looking for. Cool. Thanks. And one question from Mo. Really cool to see you here, by the way. Do you already have a date to launch the reusable elements? So that was a big discussion internally because, to be honest with you guys, reusable components in the marketplace, they were supposed to get into production by the end of the year, but we got late on some stuff. So what we want to do is actually do them in beta during an on-site early December, because we'll do an on-site with the whole team and get some of you to try them and try the marketplace. But I think we'll release them early 2024, because then it will be holidays, and basically we don't want to do big release before the holidays. So I would say early Q1 2024, really like January normally. But yeah, we're a bit late on this, and sorry for that. We're still trying to know if we can get it out of the door in December. But honestly, I would say January, just to be sure. And another question from Adam. On the topic of page loaders, I added a page loader pop-up with animation, which is bound to collection loading and or custom triggering. I set the loader to display when a user clicks a navigation menu item until the page loads. It does not display immediately on click, rather there is a 1-2 seconds delay. So this is really specific, so I will invite you back on stage, just to be sure to understand. Hey again.
Hi. Thanks for answering my many questions.
No worries.
So I'll share my screen. Okay. Oh man, I need to move this. Okay, I can move the panel. Great. So I have two windows open. This is my published app, and then I also have the editor if we need to see. But yeah. So here are my menu items. I'm on reports right now. Say I click media.
Yeah.
Part of it might just be my horrible internet speed, but you see, I clicked it and it was like a few seconds. Like, yeah, if it might be data, it might be just the data taking a long time. But what I'm trying to do is, because I don't want the user to think something's wrong, I want upon click for it to start.
Okay, but are you? Yeah, because I think you're loading maybe too much data, and that can be optimized. And the main thing, I would check your networks tab in the developer tools to know which data set is taking a long time to load, because by default we are loading the collections all the time. But what you can do is that you can say to WeWeb in the advanced options, and maybe we'll check it just after. But yeah, you know that you can ask only one collection to get loaded, because I think that maybe your collection is too big. And yeah, because the loader is on the other page, it still needs to load the data before to show the loader for some reason. So
yeah, what you're describing now is what I did. Because I'm loading a lot of data generally, I defaulted almost all my collections to not load unless I request it.
Okay.
But I'll show you here. So
are you loading the data in the change page workflow or like on page load?
On page load.
So that should be okay normally. Let's check it. Yeah.
Okay. So the way I'm triggering this is on. So basically, when they click this, I do show page loader true. It changes page, and then show page loader's false after.
That's weird that it works, because I actually find the ticket in the roadmap just for this, but because workflows, they are bound to, like, they execute in the page, in the context of a page, everything you would set after a change page would not execute normally.
Oh, okay. It is weird that it works. It's probably because I probably set show page loader the variable to not persist on page change. That's probably why it works.
Ah, yeah, that can maybe. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think so. But so so this is like the custom element that I was telling you about. And then aside for that, I also have it bound to like the actual individual collection loading. So, I mean, either way, I set this to true before I change the page, but I guess, I mean, I answered my own question. It doesn't persist.
It shouldn't. I'm not sure it will work even with the persist variable, because, or maybe that's an edge case. Because to be honest, normally, workflows, when you change a page, they will, I mean, they can be launched as long as the page didn't change, but we won't check that the action finished, actually, you know. So
maybe it's okay though, because I don't know if this will change things, but like I just need it to show on that same page while the other page is loading. Sorry, while like until the other page loads, I need it to show on this page after the user clicks on the navigation item. But I still don't know if that will work.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What we should do is that, I think we added it in the roadmap, but I will double check, is that we'll also add new triggers in the app, so that you can do like on page change, for example, you know, between pages, because this is a Vue app, and in Vue you have the option to do stuff between two pages, like when you switch from one page to another, but we don't give you access to these triggers in the workflows, and we'll need to expose them for you to use. So in the meantime, I'm not sure it will work well, because you're kind of in an edge case of like several things are happening at the same time, and sometimes the app is lost, you know, on the state between two pages. So I would say, I don't know how to trick this in the meantime. I think you got me there.
It's not a major thing, but it just I'm concerned it will affect UX. Like some users come in, they press a button, and there's a delay of, depending on their internet and how big the collection is, you know.
Yeah, but can you show me the collection, by the way, like to see how big it is?
Yeah, it probably is large. Let's see. Yeah, but it happens on pretty much each. This one. Let's see if it works. If it happens with About has a much smaller collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, About is very small. It's just like our team members.
Yeah.
And I'll show you that collection. It's just employees, which has 7 items.
Employee, 7 is really small. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
So
the
I
other
believe that's the
one,
only thing. Oh, the other one, media, I think it's significantly larger. 72.
72, it should be okay. No, it's not that big. Are you on a paid Xano account?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so it should be really fast. I don't get it. Like this should be instant. 72 from a Xano paid account. There's something weird.
I also have horrible internet.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, maybe that can be it. The only thing to try it, I think Josh has done a tutorial on this, but you can use your developer tools in your browser to know like how long the data fetching is taking, you know, in the network tab, and you will have your answer because workflows that are blocking, you know, like one action executes after the other is done. And this is by purpose because most people in no code, they want everything to happen sequentially. But normally in JavaScript, everything happens at the same time. So that's why if you're also changing page, maybe the state is lost and some stuff gets changed, but not at the right time. So I will need to check. And if you continue to have this thing, we can consider it as a bug. So feel free to report it on the support app.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
No worries. And yeah, sorry, I couldn't help further.
Okay. Thank you.
So many questions from Sofian. So I will check the second one. Hello, I'm looking to make my anchor link a bit below the title. It reaches to avoid my sticky navbar hiding it. So I think we had this discussion last time. I don't know how to do this, to be honest. I mean, I think you asked in the community and maybe one of our developers answered, but let's do number 2. I'm seeking a better understanding of the role and impact of canonical links. I have a vague idea that their role is to consolidate ranking signals and prevent the dilution of page authority across the application by informing search engines that a specific URL represents the master copy of a page. For instance, is there a way to reach a page such as example and query string and example versus ID? Do you have any idea on how it can communicate this to Google and WeWeb? Thank you. So yeah, canonical URL is basically when you have 2 versions of a page, but you want Google to only index one version because other versions are like a slight variation of this. For query string is useless, honestly, because Google knows that query strings, it's the same page. But what I see from your example is that you use for the same page a query string and a ID in a variable in the URL. You shouldn't do this. Just pick one. Don't use both options. That's bad user practice too, for like user experience. And for canonical URLs, basically, when you have a master page and maybe you have another page with filters that have the same beginning of the URL, but maybe you append something at the end, you should refer to the main page as the canonical URL. So the way to do this in WeWeb is just adding the canonical URL in the custom head of your page. And for canonical URLs, I mean, the best thing is just to check Google's documentation on this. So yeah, I think it's their documentation. And you should be, so let me post it. But basically, if I were to, so let me share my screen. So if I were to add a canonical here, let me move. Come on, Zoom, I don't see anything. I would go to my page, then the custom code, and here you can add, for example, I don't remember if it's this, but canonical, and maybe the URL of the page here, something like this, you know. And then you get here, you set the link of the master page. But when you're using query string, it's useless, honestly. And for most of the use cases, I mean, it's really rare to use canonical URLs. So I would, yeah. It would be interesting to see your use case on this. Okay, we still have 9 minutes. Oh, no worries, Sofiane. So if you have any more questions, next week we get back with Florian, so you can ask the really hardcore questions. But again, if you have any feedback on things to improve on the app, feel free to send them to feedback.weweb.io, and if it's bugged, to support.weweb.io. And if it's pricing question, yeah, maybe ask them to Slavo or Rafael. When will animations be released? I don't have any idea. They're in beta, I think, but that's something our CTO developed in a few weeks, and it doesn't have time to finish this right now, sadly. So we'll need to ask him again. We're pretty tight on the roadmap for this end of year, so maybe early 2024 also as well. I will need to ask. I will ask. So let me save this too. But normally, Adam, you can ping me with your email on the community, for example, or at my name, Quentin at weweb.io. And if you don't have the beta access for animations, and I think you asked SEO, for SEO stuff, I can give you the beta access. Can I follow up with one more question in terms of the active query tabs thing? Seems to not be working completely for me. Yeah, sure. So let's check it. Let me invite you back.
Thank you.
Hey.
Let me just share my screen quickly. So
yeah,
I'm basically here and I've set it up. So it's you can see in the URL here is set up the pending verification. But for some reason, when I'm on the first tab, even on page load, it's changing the value, but it's not showing up in the URL.
Oh, because the click was not triggered, so the workflow doesn't get triggered. So one way I will do this is maybe on page load. If the value is not set, maybe set it by default to active. Only if the value is not set already, because otherwise, if the user will come with a query string activated, this will still execute, so it will change the query string. So you are muted. Yeah.
So do you mean that I should? I'm not sure if I understood that, because I've set up so on page load it changes the variable to active.
Yeah, but for example, if the user comes to a link directly with the query string selected tab equals inactive, then the page will render. This workflow will happen. The query string will change because you're changing it in this workflow. So what you should do is use a branching if else. So if the value is already set in the variable you don't touch it. If it's empty, you set it to active.
Okay, I think I got it. I'll try that.
Cool. Yeah, and it should work. So tell us on the community or next time, and otherwise we'll double check with you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
No worries. Sandro, hey, how come that layouts sometimes differ drastically between preview and production mode? That shouldn't happen, except if you're adding CSS in the head of your page or your app. But that shouldn't happen. So maybe we can check if you want. Hey.
Thank you. Thanks for helping us.
No worries.
So we have an app where if I go into, like as mentioned in the preview on the app, everything's working as I designed it in a responsive way. But if I actually go onto the public link that is accessible, which is published already, it's not the same view. And I can show you. One moment.
Yeah, because that shouldn't. The only reason could be if you're adding custom code in the head or the body, it gets added only when you publish the app.
We didn't do that as far as I know. And one moment. The difference is only visible like moment. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So if it's about mobile. So if I would go to mobile here, you can see this is how it should be, and this is how it's developed, let's say. But so if you look at my phone,
yeah,
blurred. So in the progressive web app that I have on my phone, in there it's different than on the preview that I have on the in the browser here for mobile. And I'm trying to.
Or maybe this is some Safari stuff. So, but it will be really hard to fix right now. So what I would suggest is file a bug on support.weweb.io and we'll double check. Because yeah, debugging mobile stuff during the office hours is really hard.
Sure.
But that shouldn't. Maybe I'm thinking if you use some CSS rules, or maybe we use some CSS rules that we forgot to prefix, because Safari is getting, kind of the new Internet Explorer. So sometimes it doesn't want to display stuff the way it should be. So, and yeah, you were using an iPhone, you told me.
Yes, it was an iPhone.
Yeah, because every browser on iPhones, they are using Safari under the hood. So maybe that's why.
Okay. So, okay. And it's optimized for Chromium-based browsers, you're saying, or?
No, it's just that Chrome and Firefox, they tend to respect the latest CSS standards pretty fast, and Apple is like, I don't care. So
Okay.
we need to add the rules specific to our Safari.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much anyway.
No worries.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
See ya. We still have 1 minute, so I will answer you really fast, Sofiane. But I don't get all the questions, sorry, so we need to invite you. Hey.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I think your connection is really bad, but yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question. Yeah. Okay, so as you know, I have the app and to display the rooms layout of a villa, so we can display what is inside each room. And per villa, the number of room is very different. Sometimes there are 5 rooms, sometimes there are 3 rooms, etc. For this, we use an horizontal slider.
Yeah.
And the way I find I use the horizontal scroller, and in order to have the width that's big enough to display all of the layout, I use the maximum number of rooms we can possibly have across all of the villa. So this gets me to have a width that have few blank space for a villa that hasn't that much layout inside the room.
Yeah, I think
inside the
your
villa.
width should be dynamic. So could you show us how you've done it? Because I think your
Yes, I
CSS rule
can.
should be dynamic and bound, and maybe use a calculated property for this. So we'll need to check.
Okay. I will show you. Okay. I hope I will have connections.
The connection is, yeah, sometimes it's
screen?
really bad. Yeah.
You see the screen, or it's possible?
Yeah, no, I see it, but I think you've got like lots of lag.
Okay.
So let's just show me, but if it's taking too long, yeah. Yeah, maybe you can disconnect the camera.
Yeah. Okay. How can I do that? Disconnect the camera. Cool. So, for instance, I have a width that's here. It's too big.
I still see
for this villa.
I still see Zoom. I don't see your app.
And I don't know to manipulate the.
Yeah, just like the screen sharing stuff. I think the connection is really bad, Sofian.
Okay. Okay. You share the screen.
No, but maybe.
Okay.
Maybe
sorry.
could you ask on the
Sorry,
community?
I will do this on the meeting.
Could you ask on the community and we'll get to it? But yeah, sorry.
Okay.
See ya then. Okay, I think we're finished. So, okay. Nice. So I think this was still helpful. Again, we'll do this next Thursday again, same time with Florian. As usual, the replays are uploaded on YouTube. Should be tomorrow, because I will work on this tomorrow. I will try to do the tutorials I promised. And also, if you still have questions, again, please ask them on the community, because we've got also many users that are really good and that can help you with specific subjects. And in the meantime, I hope you will have fun building with WeWeb, and have a nice day or evening. Bye, everybody.